So can I borrow it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And when do I need to give it back?
When you are done.
Thank you. My name is Nima. My name is Nima. My name is Nima. My name is Nima. I make videos for a living. And today we're going to talk about photography though. More specifically, creating that image with just one light. Got lights. Strobe. Oh my God. Ugh. Try this again. So the light I'm using is this. This is a strobe, which means it pops light. So one of the downsides is that you don't really get to see what the image looks like until after you've snapped the photo, because it's just an instant of light. Whereas with an LED, you see exactly what you're gonna get. But the plus side is that you get a lot more power. I'm off to meet Quentin. I'll clarify when I see him.
Quinton. anything, it's all good.
And the camera I use is a Fuji GFX. It's the 50S model. So it's a 50 megapixel medium format-ish sensor. For this image, it was the 110mm lens. The lens is like perfection. So I gave my buddy Quentin a call and said, hey, you want to bring your insane car out? So we made it happen. Because you can almost split this up into 3 sections. There's the planning, the shooting, and the post-processing. This is not just a toy, this is actually going to be a crucial part of this photo shoot. Now here's an image in the exact same spot, same focal, same everything, but just no lighting. This is just what the ambient light was. You know, see, without lighting, I mean, it looks nice, but it's not quite as juicy. Something as simple as a toy car and a cell phone flashlight could be a great way of sort of visualizing what the lighting would look like. Now, there isn't really a blanket rule, but I'd say usually you don't want to be placing your light in the exact same position as your camera, because then you're just gonna make the subject look really flat and eliminate all the curves and shadows that you could be creating if you're a little bit off camera with your lighting. So now that you've played around with the toy car for a little bit, we gotta enter the real world and we gotta figure out a place to shoot. Where we ended up was an accident, and we were just kind of driving by and I saw this barn and then let's just do it here, I think it'll work. So we're getting kicked out. I'm gonna try to get like 2 frames or something and then get the hell out of here. And to say that we had permission to shoot here would be like not at all accurate. We have one light, but we want to mimic multiple lights. And that's pretty simple when your subject isn't moving. You plop your camera down on a tripod, get your focus and everything figured out, and then capture a bunch of different frames with the light in different positions. And you walk around the car, and this is again where the experimenting comes in. You don't need to know exactly where you're gonna put the light, just try a bunch of different stuff. Whatever you planned with this thing might not translate exactly in the real world. Some of the best frames that I actually ended up using in the final image were ones that kind of happened accidentally. I would just kind of walk around, tweak the light a little bit, and then boom, you'd see something that you really like. Next, we leave the real world and go into Photoshop. Take all the frames that you just shot, bring it into Photoshop, and stack them on top of each other as layers. So you're sort of like your base exposure is gonna be at the very bottom, and all the layers on top of that, you're gonna switch their mode to light. So only the parts of that image that are brighter than the layers below it are gonna be visible. And then you'll throw a mask on all those as well. You have a black mask on all of them. So when you paint in white, you simply unveil the parts of that frame that you want. Just play around with those layers until you sort of build up an exposure that you like. I think some of the principles I like to follow when I'm doing that is I don't want the entire car to be very evenly lit. I think it's nice to have some dynamics in the exposure because it feels a bit more real. If the whole thing is perfectly lit and super bright, then I don't know, to me it's a little bit boring. After all that, you can grade the image to taste, sprinkle a little magic on there, and there you go. And this brings me to an interesting point that I think is worth talking about real quick. When we step into when I step into a daunting situation, when I should know what I'm doing, but I don't really know what I'm doing, it induces fear and kills your confidence a little bit. And a different way of thinking about it has helped me quite a bit. And that's the mentality of experimentation. If I go into something, my attitude is, I'm an idiot, so I'm just gonna keep trying until I figure it out. Even with something that I've done a million times, I still go into it assuming that I'm an idiot. The beauty of this is that it just gets you started. You just start trying stuff. And I find more often than not that you often get to a pretty decent outcome a lot sooner than you thought you would have. Hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully it was helpful. Quentin was awesome. I'm sure we're gonna do more stuff. And if you have a different way of doing things than me, then share that. I'd love to know. Anyway, see ya. By the way, if you're wondering about that intro sequence with the car driving and stuff, this was a very bare bones setup because of social distancing. My wife was driving the car. I was sitting in the trunk, hanging out the back with an EOS R on a Ronin S on a gimbal. And I was just filming the car that way.
All right, what do you guys?
Is this recording still? Shit. This is still recording.